Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Professor Josie Fraser. I'm the Interim Vice-Chancellor at the Open University and also a working mum. We're going to be discussing what many people have termed the Motherhood Penalty, and importantly launching the toolkit that we've developed and thinking about how the Department for Work and Pensions, Job Centre Plus, employers and educators, such as the OU, can help mothers as they consider a return to the workplace. Today, I think we'll draw out the premium that mothers provide to employers and the exceptional qualities that they can offer.
The gender pay gap is by and large a motherhood penalty. So we have to act. And as a government, we want to move towards an employment rate of 80%. It could profoundly change our country, and for men that means increasing the employment rate by just less than 2 percentage points, but for women that means increasing the employment rate by about 8 percentage points. As somebody who believes very strongly in social mobility, especially for women, I think a partnership between the DWP and the Open University is a social mobility policy partnership made in heaven. We want our job centres to have ambition for people. It's about getting somebody a job that will carry them in their lives up and towards the achievements that they want for themselves. And both the Open University and the Department for Work and Pensions are ambitious for people, especially those who might take an unconventional path to their success. And that's why making sure that we improve the access that people have to learning is absolutely crucial.
At the heart of Momentum is a fundamental belief that no one should have to navigate that journey alone, uninformed or unsupported. The inspiration for this campaign and for the toolkits we are launching emerged from 2 academic research projects at the Open University Business School. One focused on the experience of ethnically minoritized mothers navigating the workplace, and the other explored the challenges faced by women in the public sector during pregnancy and post-maternity leave. This resource was written by mothers, for mothers, and informed through consultation with a wide range of external partners, including voluntary organisations, professional networks and community voices, and we are amazed to be working with Department for Work and Pensions as well. Our goal was to ensure that the guidance offered is not only research-led, but it's also empathetic, it's inclusive and it's practical, and it's structured around 4 key areas of support: understanding your rights, planning your return, navigating that emotional transition, and building a support network. It also reflects the diversity of parenting experiences, from single parents, mothers, and adoptive parents to those re-entering the workplace after a long career break. The toolkit includes a link also to a wide range of Open University resources, from confidence building, time management, digital literacy, CV writing, the list goes on.
Through our research in these toolkits, we want organisations to challenge assumptions around parenthood and career progression, and that they better respond effectively to diverse family structures and experiences. So what's important, these recommendations are not a one-size-fits-all. It's a flexible resource designed to support a range of sectors and roles, with practical examples that can be tailored to different organisational contexts. If we leave you with one thought today, let it be: as expectations shift and workforce demographics evolve, the organisations that take an active, intentional approach to parental support will be those best placed to retain talent, attract new and diverse voices, and cultivate a thriving and inclusive workplace. Returning to work after parental leave should not be a moment of uncertainty. It should be a moment of reconnection, respect and renewal. And with the right frameworks, such as these toolkits in place, we believe it can be exactly that.
So the motherhood penalty it's big and it's complex and it's messy, and no country in the world has managed to resolve it, which I think is really important to say. Obviously there are countries doing a lot better than we are, but in every country in the world there is a motherhood penalty. And in the UK, the 4 primary reasons why we have a motherhood penalty, we've listed all of them, but they are, just to reiterate, the childcare system, which is a complete mess. Parental leave, we have the worst paternity benefit in Europe, which means that mums on average take 9 months off, dads on average take 2 weeks off. So of course then women end up in the role of primary caregiver. When they're looking to return to work, they then look to work part-time because they're already doing a full-time job of caring for a child, and it's impossible to be able to do 2 full-time jobs simultaneously. So 38% of women work part-time in this country, but also they look at the cost of childcare, it doesn't add up, they compare it to their salary, so they start to reduce their reliance on childcare. So then you can see how it starts to hack away. But the final thing we haven't talked about is bias. And there is a very well documented bias towards women from the point that they get pregnant, where we see them as distracted and less committed to their jobs. And there have been lots of studies done on this where people have sent CVs out to recruiters and they've put parental status on it, and mothers are always offered a lot less money and are much less likely to get the call back to come to the job. And on average, we know that competency ratings for mothers are 10% lower than they are for women without children. And I hopefully don't need to explain to people that women give birth to babies, they don't give birth to their brains.
Yeah, I sort of want to be a bit positive about this, because what we see on Mumsnet is women often, because of the motherhood penalty, because they're taking a prolonged time off work, because they're resetting their life after kids, manage to escape some careers that they're really not very happy in. And men don't. So, I mean, I take my own example. I was an investment banker for 10 years. As soon as I got pregnant, I knew I had to get out of that. And I became a football journalist, which was actually my passion. I then realised that was equally unfamily friendly, and had to start my own business to get past that. So I think there is at least an opportunity to reset, but you're absolutely right that they need the opportunity to retrain and reskill. And in an AI world, you know, you can do things, you can pick things up pretty damn quickly, and you can make yourself an expert. So I'm quite optimistic about this. I think there are, you know, and I'm sure the OU will be helping women. But this ability, we are going to have to be flexible. We are going to have multiple jobs. We aren't going to stay in the same career all our lives. And I think sometimes pregnancy and motherhood gives you a chance to reset a bit. And that's a great thing.
If you could change just one thing tomorrow that would make the biggest difference for primary caregivers returning to work, what would it be?
Paternity leave. 6 weeks paternity leave at 90% of salary would be a game changer. We'd want it to be longer, but that is the first step we'd want the government to implement for all the reasons that we've talked about. Men are really suffering in the system as well. It would make a massive difference to women. It makes a massive difference to kids. If men take time out in the early days to care for their children, marriages are 40% more likely to last. It would just make a huge difference.
But I'm going to go for equality in the home. You know, I always think about mothers and how they're judged. And, you know, if a mother sticks a packet of crisps and, I don't know, a peanut butter sandwich in a lunchbox, they're going to get tutted out. If a father does it, he's a hero. You know, like the culture around expectations about, but let's face it, it takes two to make a child, and parenting should be viewed as an equal endeavour.
I would say it's a cultural shift around assumed caregiving, so it's kind of along the same point, really. It's a cultural shift around that not being something that detracts from your performance. You can still be a really, really high performer and juggle childcare and responsibility and caregiving responsibilities at home. And I think it's that cultural shift around that. So it's supported in storytelling and modelling and not putting meetings in at 3:15 when people are doing the school run, and not expecting people to be in London at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's those sorts of things. It's been thoughtful about the culture you want to create to enable that balance.
I would say absolutely remove all the biases or the assumptions around what women want to achieve after they've had children. The large majority of women want to return back to work. Actually, McKinsey did some research that shows that women who had children actually were more ambitious. I've got 2 mouths to feed. You know, I need to find a way of making sure that I support my children financially, but also supporting their dreams and ambitions. And I feel that I do that by representing themselves in terms of having big dreams myself. So absolutely, do not limit what women want to achieve after they've had children. Let them flourish, support them, be flexible, be inclusive.
everybody's story is unique, but what unites, I think, everyone here today is the determination to overcome the motherhood penalty and to turn the life skills that people develop as mothers into advantages in the workplace, not disadvantages. We're going to hope that you will feel inspired and go away and do a few things for us. Access the toolkit, share it with your networks, take it to your employers, encourage people to adopt the best practices that are contained in this great piece of work. And if you know any mothers who are thinking about returning to work, reach out, ask how they're feeling, share the parents' version of the toolkit, offer your support, and don't forget to tell them about the fantastic opportunities for flexible learning that exist, not just at the OU. I may have a little bias there, you know. There are opportunities out there, there is support out there, and there are people all over the country with stories just like theirs. Motherhood doesn't have to be a penalty, it's a premium, and any employer is lucky to have mums in their workplace. Thank you, everybody.